Hi everyone, welcome to Iron Element. This is Mike again. I'm sitting down on my chair, a little bit casual today, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Ozempic. Now, there's probably nobody who hasn't heard of Ozempic. It's everywhere, but I just wanted to give you my take on it. So first off, I guess the first question is, what is Ozempic, right? For those of you who don't know, Ozempic is a GLP-1 peptide hormone. Okay, and you take it exogenously. So that means it's an external source. In most cases with Ozempic, it's a needle, right? So you inject the GLP-1 into your body. So it's a peptide hormone. Now, what does that even mean? What's a GLP-1 peptide hormone? So that's produced naturally in the body. I believe it's in the intestine area and some other cells. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. Uh, but what happens is, as you eat a meal and you get full, your body starts to produce this GLP-1 peptide hormone. And we've all had the feeling where you eat too much, you get stuffed, and you say, I'm done. And sometimes when you eat too fast, you overstuff yourself and you say, I'm going to throw up, right? And you get so sick, you're like, I want to get out of here. Food is too much food. And you won't want to eat another bite. You can't eat another bite. So what happens is, as you get full, that GLP-1 peptide is excreted into the body to tell you to stop eating. But of course, that goes away and you get hungry again. Ghrelin takes over, the hunger hormone, right? And you get hungry again, and you repeat this cycle over and over every meal. Now, with the exogenous Ozempic you inject into your body, what it does is it keeps that GLP-1 peptide hormone in your body all the time. So that if you start eating, you feel full very, very quickly. And if you've talked to anybody who's been on it, they eat a tiny little bit and they're like, I'm stuffed. Some people even vomit because they're just so full. They feel so full. That hormone is mimicking your natural hormone, but most of the time. So you're not even hungry. And that's what makes you lose weight. So what happens is the Ozempic was designed as a diabetes medication. You probably have heard that around. But one of the major side effects was massive weight loss. Now, was it really developed for diabetes, or was it developed really for weight loss with this label as diabetes medication? And they realized, oh, you can lose a pile of weight. We can make a lot more money than diabetes. So that's up for debate. Anyways, what matters is it was designed for a diabetes medication, and they found that you could get massive weight loss as a side effect. So once they figured this out, of course, on the market in North America especially, it started to boom. And I think half the people want it now. Or I think 70% of Americans want to be on Ozempic. Now, how do you lose weight from it? Is it magic? No. The actual, because you feel full, you simply don't eat that much. So basically, you put yourself in a massive calorie deficit. Okay? So instead of eating 4,000 calories a day, you might be full all the time and you might only eat 1,500 calories a day. So the mechanism or the trigger of the weight loss comes from a calorie deficit. Just like you would if you were on a diet and you were eating less food, it's the same process, except it's much easier because you don't feel hungry. So that's the whole rule around it. So in theory, that seems fantastic. But the problem is everybody wants it. If you have 5 pounds to lose, 20, 30, everybody wants it. Where really, if you don't have hundreds of pounds to lose, if you're not massively morbidly obese, you shouldn't be considering Ozempic. And a lot of the studies have shown that people who go on Ozempic, they lose some fat, but they also lose muscle. And the problem with this is most people do not make a lifestyle change. So if you lose 30 pounds, let's say, whatever, you lose 30 pounds and you're like, this is great, I've lost a lot of weight. Once you go off Ozempic, that exogenous hormone that you've been injecting daily is no longer there, or weekly, sorry, is no longer there. So what happens is your natural hunger comes back and overtakes you, and you start eating like you used to eat. And then what happens is you've lost muscle mass because of this, because you're not eating enough calories, and you've lost fat, but you've also lost muscle. Now what happens is you put on all the fat back, and you don't put the muscle on unless you hit the gym hard and whatever. So you actually lose muscle mass and you put back on all the fat you lost, but you don't put on any of the muscle that you lost. So now you're in a worse state than you were when you started. And of course, the whole point of these pharmaceutical companies is they want you on this for life. That's how they keep a customer, right? You're not a patient, you're a customer. So, what is the answer here? What do you do? Well, I would say avoid taking Ozempic at all costs. If you have hundreds of pounds to lose, you might be a good candidate because your health markers are all probably so poor that losing weight will override the risk of taking the Ozempic. There comes a point when weight loss, a lot of weight loss, will make you more healthy regardless how you got there. But if you want to lose 15, 20, 25, 30, that kind of weight can be managed through habits, a strict diet, well, not even strict, a diet, exercise. And I don't like to use the word diet. I'd rather say a lifestyle change, okay? Because that's really what you're doing. Now, if you are on Ozempic and you've probably lost weight on Ozempic. If you're one of those people, you say, this is great, but what do I do when I come off if indeed you're saying I'm going to gain back the weight? I'm telling you, unless you change your habits, you will gain weight back. All of it, and probably more. Okay? So I'm just talking to you straight here. So what do you have to do? Well, while you're in this deficit, while you're on Ozempic, you have to learn new habits. You have to prioritize protein. You have to manage a calorie balance. So find what your calorie balance will be when you go back to when you go off of Ozempic, and what is your maintenance? How do you eat better, make better choices? How do you exercise to keep the weight off? Walking more, maybe lifting 3 times a week. This is what you need to find out. This is what you need to find out now while you're in this deficit, because you've taken the Ozempic and you've got the weight off. Now you need to learn the habits to keep it off when you go off of Ozempic. Because if you don't, you're just going to go back to your old habits and you will blow up. Fat, I mean. You will blow up with fat. Okay? That's what you have to do. Now, there's other side effects of Ozempics. We don't know the long term, long term, 20 years, 30 years. We don't know the long term side effects. But there's early studies showing that it can affect other behaviors. There are people who have different addictions and they stop. There are people who have certain behaviors and they change those behaviors because it crosses the blood-brain barrier. When they open up the brain of a mouse on Ozempic, they see that the brain is flooded with Ozempic. It goes into the brain. So it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So that's something that we just don't know the long-term effects of, okay? So my advice is start small. If you have weight to lose, no problem. Start small, make small steps, learn proper habits, set reasonable goals, watch my getting started video, and message me if you need anything. So follow me, follow, comment, and go on Instagram and under iron_element fitness. Drop me a line there, and I'd love to hear your progress, how you're doing it, what you're doing to have your success, and share any stories you want to share. I'd love it. Anyways, until then, guys, thank you for joining. I appreciate you all. Keep lifting, guys.